Well, the problem with people that start podcasts with interviewing people, one, they don't know how to interview.
That's true. Yeah.
And then what ends up happening, and this happened to me on two radio shows back.
Welcome to another edition of Here's Why. My name is Jimmy Talbert. I'm joined with my friend Dom Fawcett, executive coach and leadership speaker and CEO of Think React Lead radio show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Not just radio
We're
show,
good.
but yeah, the whole business.
The whole shebang.
All right, Dom's working on getting this live on his as well.
Boom.
There we go.
There we are shared. It's official.
So today we're going to be talking about how to grow your business using podcasts and using video podcasts.
Love it.
Specifically, because in my opinion, if you're talking into a mic, you might as well throw a camera in front of you.
I like it. Smart man.
Right? So we're going to be talking about why you should use it, and I guess how both of us have grown our separate businesses utilizing that, and then additionally what you can do to improve your video podcast and make it better.
That's clutch.
Right?
Let's start from the top and work our way down in that order.
So Dom, you've done a podcast, you've got your radio show, everything. I guess talk me through just at a high level some basic things that you've kind of learned, right?
Yes.
We're not talking real in-depth strategy.
Right, yeah.
Just high
Crazy
level,
high,
and we'll get into more in-depth stuff later on.
Specific to video, right? A couple of things you want to do is, you brought up the point, if you're going to talk into the mic, you might as well video record yourself, not focusing on the perfection of it, right? Get the content. I think you and I talk about that a lot. Get the content, worry about what you're going to do with it later on. And it's, I think that the most recent key element that I've learned is multiple angles.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how many times have you upgraded your cell phone? Don't give them away. If that's what you have, use 2 or 3 different cell phones to get the different angles. Again, worry about where you're going to get them edited later. It's important.
Getting editing is easy, right?
It's cake.
I mean, it
For us, it
doesn't take a ton. And there's a lot of people who do it. If it's something that you need help with, let us know. We're happy to help.
You guys kind of edit. You guys do your thing. I figured as much. All right.
All right. So let's get into it. So I guess the first thing that we want to address is why you should use a podcast or video podcast specifically. And I know how we use it and how we recommend it's used throughout different sales and marketing funnels with our clients. I guess, where are all the different places that you use? And we'll talk about how to chop it up and how to get a whole lot of content later, but because that's stuff you do as well. But I guess where do you use it in your?
So I use it in. So for those, can you explain to them what a sales funnel is? Because some people might not know what a sales funnel is.
Yeah, so on the image that we have behind us, let's go ahead and go full screen for a second with that. So it starts, what we're looking at here is a diagram of what we call lifecycle marketing. It essentially encompasses your entire prospect and customer journey. And so starting with getting traffic, getting awareness, getting people to look at you, and then getting leads, nurturing your prospects, converting clients, delivering and wowing and really impressing them, and then being able to upsell, cross-sell, get more referrals and reviews. Is that
right? So now
synopsis?
Now that they know what a sales funnel is, because 4 years ago when somebody said sales funnel to me, I thought funnel cake. Right? I was like, what is a sales funnel? Even though in the corporate space we were doing it, but specific to the videos that I do or from the radio show, I will put them on YouTube. I will have them sometimes in a blog. I will put them Instagram story. I will put them on my front face of Instagram, my Facebook. I will try to go live many different places at the exact same time. And then saving that content, now you're turning it into, say, a TV show, right? You got your Roku and Amazon has things that us as entrepreneurs can use to leverage our content. And then there's the audio aspect of it, right? And the list goes, I mean, you've shown that the list goes on and on and on, but that's how I use mine. How do you guys use yours?
Well, I mean, I guess we can go through an example here. So we did a season actually on lifecycle marketing, so a full season. You could always refer to our YouTube if you wanted to take a look at that. And yeah, as we go through this, if you have any advice, I'd love to hear it as well. So what we did, let's go ahead and pull up the different episodes. We did a season with 9 episodes, right? So 9 episodes in this specific season, all pertaining to lifecycle marketing. You can see the different thumbnails right there. And with each of those, then, so if we look at just the first one, we were able to do, I think, what you just described.
Right.
So you said that you're able to use it through all these different parts of your funnel, because you were able to chop it up. So let's look at episode 1 being chopped up and how that was done. So
It's a lot of places.
it sure is. So we distributed it out across all the different social media channels, obviously. But then when you chop it up, you see the small thumbnails there.
Right.
That's what you're talking about. Just to give a visual for exactly what you said. And then you can create a blog with it as well, because you get the transcript. And then you can use all these different segments for lead captures, for nurturing, right? Throughout your sales and marketing funnel. Build credibility to build additional value after someone buys. All these different things, depending on the topic. And when you look at a full season, it's a ton. Now, this is if you were to create a whole bunch in one day, right? Because you often hear from businesses and stuff that they don't want to be, they don't want to always be creating content, right?
So I would say I like creating content, and but there's the not wanting to create content, and then in my opinion, I think the type of content that people create. When it comes to podcasts, and this is something I've learned in radio, one, there's too much dead air when people speak, and then they don't re-engage the purpose of them talking. Like, for example, I would say, if you're just tuning in, I'm Dom Fawcett with Jimmy Talbert. We're here in the studio, Why Not Results, and we're talking about video podcasts, and we just got finished covering A, B, and C. But moving forward, and I think a lot of times when people create these podcasts, they'll intro in the beginning and they intro in the end, but they forget to mention who they are in the middle. Yeah. Which you might tune into somebody's podcast, and because you're caught off guard, we got kids, and you're engaged with something else, not paying attention, you lose interest in what's being said.
And especially when you're doing it on your own, solo, right? Those types of videos, those types of podcasts, everything are more difficult, which is why I bring in talented, knowledgeable people like Mr. Dom Fawcett.
Thank you, sir.
It is because to kill some of that airtime, and to have someone to lean on for ideas. And
I would say it's important. One of the things I suggest to people is when you are doing a podcast, you don't have to worry about interviewing people. Like for the first 20 episodes, I think it's fun to have somebody like a co-host, like a co-chair, because we have two different personalities, and having two different personalities from a video perspective is more engaging for the audience. And I never really know what you're gonna say, and you never really know what I'm gonna say, but it just works out. Now, I don't think everybody has this with somebody that they partner with, but it's definitely it's easier for your audience to listen to.
Yeah, I agree, and I've told you this story before, but when I initially went and started doing webinars and stuff, just to get through the webinar, through the content, and I knew the content inside and out. I had to have someone else in the room, first of all, to speak, and then someone else managing the chat.
Correct.
Right? And even then, it was, I was physically exhausted.
Oh, where's your
out? Yeah. 45-minute webinar.
Exactly.
By the end, because I did so many, I was doing 5 to 7 a week there, and by the end of that time, I could do everything. It was just me. I was managing the chat. I was doing everything because you're just more comfortable with it at that point.
You're not sweating anymore. You're not stammering or stuttering.
I'm a heavy guy, so I was still sweating a little bit.
You're not that big, bro. We're like the same size on camera, so you're good.
But yeah, I think having two people there, especially when you're getting started, is the way to go. Not so much interview style.
No,
again,
more like this.
That's just my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right.
Well, the problem with people that start podcasts with interviewing people, one, they don't know how to interview.
That's true. Yeah.
And then what ends up happening, and this happened to me on two radio shows back, where the person takes over the interview.
Okay.
And then the owner of the podcast never brands themselves. And in the beginning, when you're doing video, like you just said, you did a lot of videos and you became your one-man show.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, learning to do as much as you can on your own so you know what right looks like. Even if, like I hire your company, Why Not Results, and I've never done this before. And you guys cut up everything that I have and send it out to all the places. Well, what happens if I don't have the budget to do that anymore?
Yeah.
Now, I built a brand and now it falls flat on its face, as opposed to working with you and then because you guys have shown plenty of people how to do certain things, but showing, hey, in the event, here's the content, we're gonna cut it up, but you can also do it this way. Most people don't do it because they're just lazy.
Right, yeah, most people don't, which is why we're in business.
This is why most people are in business, because people in general are just lazy.
But you've gone about it the other way before, you personally.
Yeah.
Talk about that path and I guess what's involved in doing it that way, doing it all on your own or getting it done in different places as far as the editing, the distribution, the strategy, right? 'Cause that's a lot to take on when you're also trying to run a business.
So as a solopreneur, as many people would refer to that as, I don't have employees. For me, learning how to manage the operations is important. So when I hire somebody to do it, I know what right looks like. For example, I've hired videographers before, and I've hired editors before. When I first started, I would get garbage back compared to what I know now.
Right.
Now, when I hire somebody, I know what to tell them. And I don't know why I'm yelling at you and getting all militant.
Yeah,
but I'm not afraid of work, so I like learning the ins and outs of business. But if you have 4 or 5 employees plus, and that's not something, you're not creative and you got coin, I would definitely suggest hire.
But if you're gonna do it yourself, you need to have that process defined, at least understand what the process should be, and then define it so that it's easier to do, right? So it's actually something that's scalable. Or am I misinterpreting?
I think entrepreneurs, when they first start off, they focus too much on the process, and they don't focus one step at a time.
Version 1 is better than version 9. 100% of the time.
Boom.
Right?
I like that. But if you were like me and then you get tired of doing it, I had hair when I first started, it stressed me out. So then I came to these guys. So you can all
found the hairiest podcast right
now. This guy. Learning to hire somebody to do it even better, because I can only do so much on my own.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, which is again.
I mean, you guys have seen my videos, right? I mean, none of them look like this.
You make great content though. You make it consistently and a lot. One thing I admire is just how much content you actually create, especially being sort of a very small business. I mean,
no, bro. You can say it. I'm a very small. I'm a self-employed dude. That's it.
An assistant.
VAs, a couple VAs.
Yeah, so VAs. I mean, it's so the amount of content that you're able to get public,
right,
with that is impressive. Compared to other businesses that size.
But look how much content you guys distribute. With the click of a button.
Sure. Yeah. It definitely, with the tools that we have available, it makes it a lot easier for a business to get a ton of content.
Right.
Now, again, that's why we're in business.
That is why you're in business. I love lazy people.
So if someone's saying, all right, I'm going to start my podcast, but I'm not sure what's going to work. I'm not sure, what exactly my message would be. What would be some
good question?
What would be some things, bullet points that people should think about that you would recommend?
First, just go to your social media page, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, ask your audience, and just do a regular post. I'm going to start a podcast. What topics should I talk about? My first 12 months in radio, as I'm driving to the radio station, I would put on my Facebook page, headed to the radio station, what should I talk about? I don't prep. And then I would talk about that subject. But we can go from either just using your cell phone and learning to doing a 10-minute podcast, just so you can hear what you're knowledgeable on. Sure. Because oftentimes we have all these thoughts in our head, but then we go to implement them. Guess what? It doesn't sound as cool.
It doesn't work.
Right?
Yeah. I've had that happen plenty of times.
The first time we got on, we did this. It was it was a doozy.
Yeah. Well, and I think with that too, the first video that we recorded, I was interviewing you, right? To find out more about you. And like you said, I'm not good at interviewing. That's not something I've got a whole lot of experience with.
You don't need to.
You know?
Given your skill set, given your business, I'm going to throw that out there. It's
Everything
okay.
else, not something, but that was the format that we had decided that I thought would go really well.
In your head.
I was wrong.
Right, exactly.
Turns out I'm not a journalist.
At
I'm
all.
not good at that stuff.
No.
More casual does work better here, as you can see.
You're more the tech guy. But we've worked together for what, 3-4 months now?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, just doing it, you've gotten better.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope so.
Me too. Me too.
If not, I'm not sure what we're doing here.
Well, they'll tell us.
I think it has definitely gotten better. Okay, so coming up with topics, stuff like that. You hear this all the time, so do I, and you're definitely an expert on it. But people being nervous on camera, being nervous about getting on and recording, and then putting that out there to the world.
People are nervous they're nervous about being judged, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you look the way you look, you sound the way you sound. People will say things, well, I don't like, this extra chin. I don't like my size. Well, you like popcorn and ice cream, so like you didn't gain that overnight, you're not gonna lose it overnight. Like the way you look on camera, that's what the person sees, that's what the clerk sees at the grocery store. It's what your husband and your wife sees. So just, I would say, own who you are.
Okay.
Know that your message is gonna be good, and deliver it. And don't just record it and not post it, because how often you guys have done a lot of video for a lot of people, and you create all this stuff for people. How many times have you seen them not post it?
More than I'd like to.
Right, it's
like to
sad.
Admit. Or stop recording because they don't like how they
In
look on
studio,
camera. Yeah.
they stop. I've seen
And-
that before.
Hey, look, at the end of the day, I like ice cream more than I like looking great.
I don't need abs. I like sticky bugs.
I've decided already.
Exactly.
I'm choosing ice cream. But that's something that you.
I'm okay
you
with
live
that. Right, exactly.
I've told you before, there was a time where I didn't have a lot of confidence in my voice and how that came across. I did some things, but they took time to make some changes there.
But did your voice really change, or did
I
you
don't
just
think it
comfortable
did.
with who
I
you
don't
are?
think it did. Yeah,
Right.
and I think that what it was as well was me being uncomfortable was making it more monotone because I've been going through things.
Right.
Really, And then when I was able to be myself, I could talk with a little bit more influctuation in my voice and things like that.
When I first started radio, as I hear you say this, I struggled with apparently imposter syndrome, because I wanted my radio show, wanted it to sound like this. I don't know why. Like, I wanted my radio
you're the
show.
Allstate guy?
Yeah. I don't. No. More of like a Chuck Norris meets maybe David Goggins. Yeah.
You still didn't sound like that with your impression.
No, I didn't. That wasn't that. I sound like Allstate guy.
I felt like it was closer to Allstate.
Oh, so that. Anyways, I know which Allstate. I thought you meant Jake. That's State Farm.
No, that's State Farm.
Okay, Allstate guy.
Yeah, not Jake.
We digress. Obviously, we didn't take our Adderall this morning, but anyways, there's a pause in your laugh. Like, we could take that back. We can't.
No,
This is
we
live.
can't. Yeah, we're going live. So.
All right, so let's get back to the point. We're talking about the marketing. We're talking about distribution of the content. And let me ask, what are the benefits of this? There's obvious benefits, but how does somebody monetize distribution of content?
Well, it depends on what you're selling, right?
Okay.
So, again, when we talked about the different aspects of your prospect and customer journey, or your customer life cycle,
Right.
or your sales funnel, it's all the same thing, right? The different aspects. Well, when you look at that and you look at, okay, there's going to be digital means of following up with these people and connecting with them on social media, and there's so many different things that you need to do.
Right.
Then the question is, well, how do you create all this content, right? Video podcasting is the easiest way to do that.
I think it is as well.
To create a ton of content, as long as it's applicable to your market and at least identifies or introduces your products and your offerings and your services or whatever you sell,
But
it's
then,
going to be applicable.
whenever, just because you're doing a video podcast or a podcast in general, a radio show, doesn't mean that you have to offer services on every one. Like, how many times have you? I've seen it once. Somebody, every time they're on video, they're selling something.
And that gets old.
Yeah, it's a turn
That gets
on,
old. Yeah.
Right? This ain't the 80s, but
That's why I say make it applicable or interesting, right? So you ask yourself things like, All right, so what are 3 things that
Make you happy.
well, or 3 pain points that
There it is.
it could be solved by what you offer? And you don't have to ever connect the dots, right? The whole point is to your product is what I'm saying.
Right.
You can just talk about those pain points and how to overcome, right? There's a whole bunch of things that may have nothing to do. Like we've done a lot of podcasts and videos, you and I, on how someone can start and get into video.
Correct.
Right? And we're not talking about them coming into the studio, which is one of the things that I sell.
Correct.
Right? We're talking about using their
better.
phones,
Right.
and strategies on public speaking and on your presence on camera and on all these other things. Why? Because that's interesting.
People want to be. They do want to be educated.
That's
And
right.
If you can educate your audience, you become the subject matter expert in your space. You don't have to state. What somebody told me the other day. If you're not selling, you're telling. So don't forget to sell. And I think that's where a lot of people make mistakes in their videos. They don't sell. But write down your top 15 client pain points and your videos. 1 pain point each video.
There's definitely a balance there.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
I agree. Well, any, I guess, last pieces of advice or final words that you'd like to get in there?
Yeah. Start.
Yeah, get started.
Just start.
That is the best advice
People struggle with that.
Yeah. Again, version 1 is always better than version none.
I like that. I
And
might have to use
most
that.
businesses just run with version none.
And that's why they're not in business.
They just have ideas. So, thank you so much for joining today, whether you're on Facebook Live or maybe you're watching this on YouTube. We appreciate it. And make sure to like and subscribe and share where you can. So,
There it is. You guys have a fantastic day.
signing off.